World Environment Report, Diplomat Talks on Climate Change. Our 9th episode starts now.
이번에 온 답장 볼게요.
Hello, my name is Federico Failla. I'm the Italian ambassador to the Republic of Korea. Well, today environment is one of the most pressing issues all over the world, and of course also in Italy. And I think this is something that is not only for experts, but now is a matter for everyone. I would like to share what Italy is doing in environmental sectors with you in my residence. I hope to see you soon.
기사들 중에 우박이
우박?
예. 근데 그냥 뭐 단순히 우박하면 우리 한 요 정도 조그만 우박
네.
생각하잖아요. 이렇게 막 후두둑 떨어지는. 근데 우박이 지름이 5cm가 된대요.
5cm 요?
거의 야구공보다 조금 작은 느낌이랄까? 이게 지금 우박이 내리고 있는. 보여요?
와, 진짜 무서워요. 굉장히 강한 상승 기류와 하강 기류가 만나면서 우박이 형성이 되는데, 그렇게 되려면은 이제 뜨거운 공기와 차가운 공기가 만나야 된다는 뜻이잖아요. 근데 이제 보통 차가운 공기가 머무르는 시기가 있고 이제 뜨거운 공기로 바뀌는 뭐 그런 전환이 돼야 하는 시기가 있는데, 지구 온난화 때문에 땅의 공기가 더 빨리 뜨거워지면서 그게 온도차가 커지면서 이렇게 우박이 더 자주 발생하고 크기도 더 커지고 있는 것 같아요.
저는 19년도 기사를 하나 찾았는데요. 베니스 하면은 뭐 우리가 워낙 뭐 TV에서나 관광 책자에서 많이 보는 장소인데 19년도에 50년 만에 엄청난 폭우가 내렸대요.
아, 진짜요?
네, 기존에 저희 관광지로 익숙하게 알고 있던 그 예쁜 풍경들 거기가 다 물에 잠겨 있어요.
오래된 유적지도 되게 피해를 많이 입었겠는데요.
우리가 이 공부하면서 느끼는 거가 기후변화의 정말 무서운 점은 이게 앞으로 더 자주 일어날 거라는 거. 우리가 지금부터 노력을 해도 사실은 지금 상태를 유지를 하는 게 그냥 베스트일 것 같다는 생각.
우리가 그냥 생각하는 것보다 정말 큰 노력을 해야 유지를 할 수 있는, 지금의 상황을 유지할 수 있는 상황인 것 같아요.
유지라도 할 수 있는.
맞아요.
그렇죠.
On this mild and breezy autumn day, we are off to meet the Italian ambassador to South Korea.
우리 한남동 자주 오는데 이 근처는 또 오랜만에 오는 것 같아요.
여기 되게 좋네요.
한강 뷰 너무 멋있지 않아요?
그러게요.
그리고 여기 공원도 있어가지고 사시는 주민분들은 산책하기 되게 좋을 것 같아요.
그러게요.
Strangely enough, this small yet cozy park in the middle of the neighborhood made us become a bit nostalgic and relaxed at the same time.
이탈리아가 영국이랑 26번째 당사국 총회, 그러니까 컵26을 공동 개최하잖아요.
맞아요. 올해죠?
그러니까 26이니까 26번째인데 그럼 첫 번째 당사국 총회는 언제였는지 찾아볼 생각을 못했어요. 생각해보니까.
저도 궁금하네요.
그러니까.
그게.
저희 회의하고 또 좀 대사님 활동을 찾아보다가 보니까 대사님께서 기후변화 이 토픽에 관심이 좀 많으신 것 같더라고요. 뭐 모든 대사님들이 그렇긴 하지만 그래서 대사관에서 그러니까 이탈리아 대사관에서 기후변화 다큐멘터리 상영도 하시고 또 어느 대학교에서 기후변화 토론회에도 참석을 하셨더라고요.
최근에?
응.
And we finally arrived at the residence.
Oh, welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
How are
How have
you?
you been? Very nice
Fine,
to see you again.
fine. Thank you. Thank you.
This was the first time meeting the ambassador since last Christmas. For me, ravishing red drapes and extremely spacious interior designs were most impressive about the residence, but there was an even more stunning sight I missed.
Oh, wow. You have a really nice view of the river.
And I have a nice view of the river.
Ah.
Absolutely.
I think it has a kind of a cooling effect, at least for the eyes.
Absolutely, yeah. Also to have this nice view is refreshing.
And now we're about to file our 9th World Environment Report.
Now, Ambassador, the 2015 Paris Agreement remains as the most historic deal so far on climate issues. What do you make of this meaningful accord, and how do you think we as the international community are doing in terms of making concerted efforts in dealing with climate change?
I agree that the Paris Agreement of 2015 has been a milestone in the history of mankind. And finally, we have taken concrete action to combat climate change and to try to limit the damage that we are doing to the environment. Of course, it's been an exceptional agreement, but it's not enough. What we thought probably in 2015, just 6 years ago, that could have been the right course of action. Maybe we had to do more. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe the dangers are more than we foresaw. Because we are seeing that what the result we expected we could achieve, implement the Paris Agreement, are coming slower than we foresaw. Recently has been calculated that in a little bit more than 6 years, as a symbol, as a date of, that has been indicated, the 1st January 2028 might be the day in which climate change becomes irreversible.
Global warming is unfolding at a rapid pace. Under the current conditions, there are negative forecasts that the maximum threshold for stopping climate change by keeping the global temperature increase to under 1.5 degrees Celsius might come sooner than the expected 2030. With all the abnormal climate catastrophes happening around the world, experts and activists are all voicing their concerns about the irreversible and rapid changes happening to our planet.
Being for the Paris Agreement or being for the safeguard of the environment or being against climate change, it's not something that we have to do because we are good people. No. We don't have choice. It's not a choice.
So what has been done by Italy to fight climate change, to mitigate emissions since the Paris Agreement, or even before 2015?
Italy, together with other EU countries, is committed to combat climate change since a long time. For instance, between 1990 and 2020, our CO2 emissions have been reduced more than 20%. Since the new EU Green Deal that has been approved in the past years, we are accelerating cutting of the emissions. And with the new, what we call the National Plan for Recovery and Resilience, that has been approved just recently, last May, and is part of the EU plan to recover after the pandemic. We are focusing most of the funds that are very relevant. Italy will spend for this National Plan of Recovery and Resilience almost 200 billion euro. and 40% of it will be directly in green sectors.
Last May, the Italian government declared a National Recovery Resilience Plan as part of the Next Generation EU program designed to deal with the pandemic. The plan is made up of 3 strategic axes: digitization and innovation, ecological transition, and social inclusion. From 2021 to 2026, around 222 billion euros will be invested into the program. Of this, 68.6 billion euros has been allocated to green innovation and ecological transition. The plan entails specific actions such as enhancing the recycling of waste, including electrical materials, paper, plastic, and textiles, as well as reducing drinking water leakage, building more energy-efficient buildings, and supporting research on the use of hydrogen in industry and transportation. Also, a total of 31.4 billion euros is allocated for infrastructure for sustainable mobility to develop a more sustainable transport infrastructure.
So let's say that the focus of this plan is about making Italy greener and greener. Already, for instance, one sector where we have already achieved some result is the agriculture sector. More than 20% of our agriculture sector is bio, so not using all environmental friendly technologies. Is the most sustainable sector, among the most sustainable sector in Europe. Italy is also the European countries that is the first in a circular economy, so means we are recycling, reusing, and reducing our waste. The plan is to reduce our CO2 emission by 2030 compared to 1990 by 55%, in line with the EU target. Another thing is by 2025, Italy will not use any more coal as a source of energy. So it's quite a comprehensive plan.
In November 2017, Italy announced the National Energy Strategy to phase out the use of coal through a step-by-step process from 2025. Considering that Europe's target year to phase out coal is 2030, Italy has set a bigger, more ambitious goal. By actively utilizing renewable energy, Italy's ratio of renewable energy use reached 17.8% as of 2018, exceeding the target of 17% for 2020. When this was calculated into total electricity production, renewable energy had the highest ratio of 33.3%. In Italy, there are various energy resources such as hydrogen, solar, wind, and biomass. Italy is running at full speed with its innovative energy transitions in order to realize the ambitious targets of bringing renewables to 30% of total energy consumption and 55% of electricity generation by 2030.
I think I'm very impressed at how you plan to phase out of using coal. Are you not concerned about the stability of renewable energy, or instability of it?
Yeah, I think the progress of technology in renewables is very impressive. Also, another important aspect is that Italy does not use any nuclear power. So we have fossil fuels and renewables. It's also now with the present technology it's possible that renewables can replace easily fossil fuels because especially solar is very competitive. We started giving incentives to companies, even private, that would install solar panels. Not anymore. Now the price is so competitive you don't need incentives anymore.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about global cooperation. Environment ministers of the G20 nations gathered in Italy in July to discuss climate issues. How did the meeting go?
The meeting was successful. I must say there were very tough negotiations. Since the beginning, Italy put at the center of his G20 program 3 words: people, planet, prosperity. The 3 things are interlinked. And for the first time we did this meeting was not only about climate, but also about energy. This to show that there is a very strict link between the 2 issues. After some quite tough negotiations, it was possible to approve some declarations that go into the right direction. And we hope that all this goodwill and good progress that have been made in G20 could be reflected also in COP26 in Glasgow.
On July 22nd and 23rd, 2021, the G20 Environment, Climate and Energy Ministerial Meeting took place in Naples, Italy. Held in person for the first time in 2 years, the meeting served as an important platform to lay the foundations for the success of COP26. The participants included officials at the minister level in the sectors of environment, climate change, and energy, as well as representatives of a wide range of international organizations. They were all on the same page about the loss of biodiversity, pollution, habitat loss, degradation, and fragmentation, and other serious environmental issues caused by global warming. They also acknowledged their roles as members of the G20 to achieve the goal of the international community set forth by the UN SDGs and the Paris Agreement, and solidified their goal to create a sustainable society. Although the G20 member countries did agree to carry out the Paris Agreement, some countries did not agree on the issues of phasing out coal power by 2025, or a further improvement from the goals of the Paris Agreement, which is to maintain the global temperature increase at below 1.5 degrees Celsius for 10 years. But based on a common understanding of the urgency of climate action, the members managed to adopt the joint G20 Energy Climate Ministerial Communiqué.
Now, a joint communique was published at the end of the meeting, but I heard that it was very difficult to come to an agreement regarding some of the wordings. I mean, negotiating, it's always difficult, right?
Negotiating is always difficult, but in this case, we didn't want just to have a piece of paper. We want to have a declaration that is workable, that is a commitment for the future, that will help us, everyone, for reaching more ambitious target in the future and to have an excellent result at COP26.
But narrowing the gap between the developed and developing countries is always, it's a very challenging task.
It's true. It's true. I don't deny it. It's true. What we had to do, we had to find a way to work together. And of course, developing countries, emerging countries are not requested the same level of ambition of developed countries that, by the way, have a lot of responsibilities for the damaging to the environment. Europe is at the forefront, is a leading group in combating climate change. Does not mean that we have forgotten what we have done before, starting from the Industrial Revolution. But now it's time to work together, to understand also that for most of these countries, combating climate change can be an opportunity. For instance, renewable energies, I said, they create generally 3 times the jobs that fossil fuel create. I take an example. for instance, a continent that for us, for everyone, is extremely important, but we are very close to it, so it's very important for us, that is Africa. In Africa, almost 60% of people does not have regular access to energy. In this situation, thinking of infrastructure like in the past of fossil fuel with pipelines, power stations, and so on, becomes incredibly expensive and impossible to realize. Thinking of instead renewable energies becomes much easier, more affordable, closer to the people, no damage to the environment. It's a win-win situation.
Now it has become.
It has become a win-win situation. So we think that if there is any cooperation that developed countries should provide to these countries, we'll be willing to do it because we are on the same boat.
Now, COP26 will be held in Glasgow in November this year, and Italy is in partnership with the UK to host the event. Apart from the fact that it's happening 6 years after the Paris Agreement, what significance does the meeting hold?
The significance is that we have to shift gear, that we have to go faster. We will host the pre-COP in Milan, the Youth for Climate, so-called Youth COP, at the end of September, beginning of October.
COP26, the UN Climate Change Conference of 2021, is finally taking place this year in Glasgow, hosted by the UK in partnership with Italy. In order to come up with clear decisions and negotiations at the meeting, there are preliminary events also in preparation. On July 25th and 26th, the July Ministerial took place in London, with more than 50 countries, including Korea, as participants. The participating nations pledged to submit a revised NDC to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, before COP26. And they discussed ways to take climate action in an equal manner for all countries. In order to encourage more youth participation at COP26, the Youth for Climate Driving Ambition was also put in place. Around 400 young people from 197 countries will participate in this event, organized by Italy's Ministry for the Environment, from September 28th to 30th in Milan. They will submit specific proposals to the ministers attending the pre-COP and COP26. They have also carried out preliminary discussions online, composed of 9 episodes, covering topics such as sustainable recovery, youth action, and protecting the most vulnerable. And in Milan, the pre-COP will be held from September 30th to October 2nd. Around 35 to 40 countries, representatives of the UNFCCC, and other interested parties will participate in the pre-COP to exchange knowledge and opinions on their political perspectives on climate action.
There are 2 or 3 issues that this COP26 are focusing. One is green finance. And it's very important that the financial institutions will understand that there is no future in financing projects that are polluting. Especially taking always the case of energy. Fossil fuel power station, just to say, does not have a lifespan of 5 years or 6 years, but is supposed to work for 20, 30 years. It's very risky nowadays to finance such projects, because already in Europe we are moving towards a legislation that will require the products that we import to be produced in a sustainable way. And if they are not, they will be subject to taxation. And we hope that this kind of legislation will be adopted by many countries to make it possible to move towards a sustainable production.
Throughout this whole interview, I kept getting this impression that you have a really strong and firm view about environmental issues. Do you have any personal habits or actions that you're taking to fight climate change?
Yes, we try to do some separate collection of garbage. So that could be recycled easily. Other things are, for instance, encouraging people not to take a private car to come to the office. I know this is more difficult, especially when it's so hot. I know this. But I can say as a wish, let's say, you know.
Wishful thinking, in a
well,
way?
it's a target. Not everyone can be reached at the same time, but also, especially in the office, we try not to use too much packaging. So try to reduce waste, so that we can give a small contribution to preserving the environment.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador,
You're
for taking the time to talk to us today.
You're welcome.
I had a great time learning about Italy's efforts in the fight against climate change, and I hope nothing but the best for Italy to
Thank you.
host a successful pre-COP and COP26 as well
Thank
this
you
year.
very much. Thank you.
After our talk today, I jotted down the one message that stuck with me the most.
We prepared a small, I think this is made with used coffee grounds, so it's environmentally friendly. And
We also use in the house coffee
used coffee grounds?
for the garden.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
So
yes.
maybe this little baby will go somewhere in the garden.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.